Hope everybody's having a good day today. I'm here with my 2003 Corvette, and what I'm doing today is replacing my window regulator on the passenger side. I've actually already done this job, but because when I looked at information online trying to figure out how to do this, there was no really good videos on it. Even though I've already had everything done, I'm doing this kind of backwards. I thought I'd go through where all the connectors are on the door panel and go through where all the screws are for the actual window regulator itself, and how to get that apart, and kind of explain what I went through and where I got the parts. And if you have any questions on any of this, I'm going to link in the description to my website a blog post where I'm going to list all the parts and the price and where I got them from, and also some pictures during the process, kind of where the location of everything is, so that you can have an easier time doing this than I did. But I was hoping just doing this video would give you a little more detail. So let's get started. So as you can see, I've already got the door panel off the car. And I wanted to start with this because it'll give you a better idea of where the connectors are for the door panel, and I've got the door panel over there to show you. But you've got several different spots. On the top, you've got a place where the door panel actually sits, and that's what you bump up on at the last minute to actually get the door panel off. But when you actually start, you start at the edge of the door, between the door panel itself here and the door, and you use little pry tools similar to these. And what that'll allow you to do is get into there and pry and pop these off. And they're little plastic pieces. You can see them here. And what they do is just sit in there. They're kind of rough. They're ribbed. And then they just pop right straight out. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a 5th one there, a 6th one there. And those match up here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on the top here you can see the 3 sections that actually go on your door itself, and they correspond with these spots here across the top. So once you get these things pulled off, you press up on the door and it'll pop off. You've also got 2 screws that go in the center. Those are located under the handle. You've also got to take your plastic piece here off, and you need to disconnect your switch for your window. And the way you do that is there's a spring here on the top on the front side, and you press in and pull up. So you don't want to pry on the plastic, on the rubbery part here, because you'll crush it. You just want to get down to where this metal spring there is. That's all you want to get to. You don't want to touch the top, because I accidentally busted mine a little bit, but I was able to glue it back. So be careful with these parts. And with this, you just want to get around the edge, and I'll show you how that connects. Because with the door panel off, you can actually see better of how it connects. So it sits like this with your door panel between it, and you've got a connector here, here, and then on the bottom you've also got 2. So they correspond with 4 of them, and you've got 1 at the front. So you've got 5 connectors, 1 at the front, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. Don't have anything on the back, and it just slips right on there. And you can kind of see how it connects right there, top and bottom, and on the left there. So that comes off first. Then your screws come off right here under your handle. Take those out. Then you pop your side off, or your bottom and sides, and then you just lift up, push straight up on the door panel, and it'll pop off. And that's your door panel off. So that's where we're at now. From there, you have to go to your speaker, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe 6 screws, and your whole speaker housing will come out. You may even have to use a pry tool, because there's a sealant here to help you get it off. And once you've got all the screws off, it'll come off fairly easy. You've also got a connector here. You just disconnect this here, and that whole thing will pull out. So you'll have a hole here. You've also got a plastic piece that goes here, which looks like this, and it lays up in here. And what it does is keep water and noise from getting into your car. There's this thick goo, I don't know really what it is, but that keeps it connected, so you got to pull that off. And when you do, you're probably going to break it, because mine's all dry rotted with a 2003 car. So I purchased a new one of these for like $43. And again, I'll put everything in the description, but those can be acquired for about $43, $45 plus shipping. So they are available. They're not easy to find from my experience, but you can get them. So once you have that, the door panel off, all your molding, and then your cover here, take it all off, then you're left with these little holes. And when you pull these off, and I'm gonna have to buy some more of this tape, when you pull these off, you'll see a screw here, a bolt, I guess technically. There's also one right there. I've already took that one off. That's the one I want to put some more tape on, but there's two there. Where those go are right here and right here, and that's my original window regulator, and I'll show you more about it, but that's how you access these bolts right here. And what those bolts do are they hold on to your glass. Your glass will actually slide between here, and there's another metal piece, and it clamps. So you kind of got to be careful when you're doing that, but it'll clamp onto there. And those pieces look like this. So they go on the back of these pieces. That bolt goes through. Your glass is held by rubber. So that's how that works and how you access those. You've also got 1, 2, 3, and then you've got a 4th bolt on the bottom of the car. As you see right here, there's a rubber gasket. You take it off, and there's another bolt under here. And those are the places that you take your actual window regulator loose from. And as you can see, the one on the far left on the bottom points straight down, and it orients to the bottom of the door. These are straight out the side of the door, so they're very easy to get to. There's 4 of them, like I said. So once you take all those off, you also will have to take these 3 here off. And where those correspond is to your motor and your cable system. And you take it off, and there's also a wire connector here. When you actually go to take it off, you'll have this hole here, and you'll be able to disconnect your motor here from the wiring harness, which runs through here, I believe, up in here. And you'll have it all disconnected. It actually runs maybe back here, but anyway, you'll have it disconnected, and everything will pull out through this hole here. And I'm going to show you how all that pulls out once you get your glass disconnected and everything else. And I want to go back to that, because once you loosen these 2 bolts here, your glass will actually pull completely out. So you got to be careful not to drop that, or you'll be replacing your glass. You'll remove all this, and then you'll actually remove your window regulator itself. So let me show you how it actually goes up in there and give you an idea of how to orient it through there. So when you get your new window regulator, you want to kind of fold it up like an accordion. And what will happen is you want your top section to go in first. So you kind of roll it up together, and you'll just fish it through your open hole here. And when you get it inside, it will actually fold out, and you have to line up your top holes here, top bolts, with the holes on the top and then the holes on the bottom. And what will happen is it'll stretch itself out, and then you can actually get your motor, and then you can get your motor oriented correctly to the holes, and everything will be set in there. What I did when I put my new regulator in is I put the bolts on just hand tight so that it would stay there, and got my motor situated. And then I went to actually put my glass in. So when you slide your glass in from the top, it's easier to see from the side here. If you'll notice the little rubber section here, that's where the glass will slide into that bracket and then connect here to your bolt, and you can tighten it down, and like I said, it'll just pinch your glass. And so once you do that, you may have to move your glass left or right a little bit, because you want to make sure you line it up with your weather stripping here, and make sure that you're not too far left, right, up or down, and make sure that your adjustments not too high or too low, because what happens is you can actually slide these little connectors up and down on this rail, and here's your movement. So you've got about a ½ inch or so of movement left in your system here. So what I did is mark my window so I know kind of where it goes, and then you can just, like I said, up and down adjust, or left and right with the whole mirror, or just left and right with the whole window. But it's a pretty easy job. It just, none of the videos really showed exactly where the bolt holes were and how to actually get it up in there, but you kind of go the top section first and push it in there, and then split it like a accordion. And you can actually put a zip tie on the center here, or if you still got your original one, there's a zip tie here that connects to this hole, you can actually remove it and connect these here on your new one, and that way your cables will be secure and not be moving around during operation. So I did save my original zip tie right here and connected it to my new aftermarket system here. The reason I went with aftermarket is because they were a little cheaper. Didn't see a reason to pay the extra money. So I actually bought these from Eckler's, and then the weather stripping part that goes over here, the weather, I guess it's a shield really, got it straight from GM because you can't find it anywhere else, or I couldn't. But again, when you go to put it back together, put your 4 bolts in, get your adjustment right, get your 3 bolts for your motor right. Then you can put your gasket back in the bottom, put your speaker back in, make sure everything's connected, your motor here and your speaker. And before I actually tightened everything completely down, put my speaker back in, I actually tested to make sure the window went up and down, and it worked well, so I didn't have any trouble. But that's how you do it basically, and I'll show you a little more detail on some other things. And when you go to test, you can actually just connect your piece back here, your connector, and see if it rolls down. And this will give you a better idea of what you're looking like here. When I was talking about the place that you connect your window, you got the bolt here, and the bolt hole, like I said, is up here, but you can kind of tell how it actually connects to your window. Obviously the other side's behind the speaker there, but both sides are very similar. I would make sure not to get this too tight to pinch that too hard and break your glass, but once you slide that in, you can adjust left and right, up and down, and get your alignment right. But everything was pretty simple, like I said, and took me probably an hour and a half or so because I'm not used to it. The hardest part is probably getting your door panel off. Once that's off, everything else goes in pretty easy. And when you reconnect your door panel, again, it's just right backwards from what I was explaining earlier. You've got all your connectors on the side there, the little studs. Those pop on. You've got 2 bolts that go in from the front side, and the first thing you do is connect your top section, and then all these should line up. Then press them back in, and you're ready to go. And I want to show you the new part right there as well. Here's my new one here. It's actually got the goo, or whatever it is, the glue, the adhesive strip around it. So once I take it out of the plastic, I can put it right back in and align it, and that way it'll keep water and noise out of my car. I've noticed on some of the other videos people don't have one, but they probably don't go through the process of finding out how to get one. But I'll have all the parts. I'll have the dampener part here. I'll have the window regulator listed as well. And this whole project, I think these were about 170, and then that was 45, like I said, 43, something like that. So it wasn't too bad buying the aftermarket, at least on the regulator, saved probably 30-40 bucks. So anyway, I'm going to get everything put back together and let you go. I tried to make this video quick. I hope it's helpful. That was the main reason I made it, because I was having trouble figuring all this out via videos myself. But I'm going to have more pictures, like I said, on my website, details on where to get everything. Let me know if you need anything. I've got an email address listed on my website too. You can shoot me a question if you have anything. But also, if you would like to watch any more of my videos, I made a video just before this one, replacing the mirror on the driver's side. So I'll link that video in the cards, and I'll also link it in the description if you want to watch that one. That one was a little bit harder to figure out what the answer was. So I made that video as well. But like I said, the main reason I make these just so that I can kind of show people things that I had trouble with, and maybe they can have an easier time than I did. And like I said, hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you later.